Hello everyone, welcome to Grounded Roots Healing. I'm Jason, and I've had a strange day today. I'm not even sure what this video is about. I have a general outline, but I had an experience. Well, it was a strange day. So I ended up getting communication from my deceased mother today, which was pretty amazing. Not direct communication, and I will explain what I mean a little bit later in this video. But to outline why, let me just go through what happened today. So I've over the last at least several days, I've had what seems to be unresolved anger coming up. Now, this is a never-ending onion peel by the look of it, and I'm really getting tired of it, but you don't get to pick. You're going to go through it. This is how it works. So it was a strange experience. So today I had, I woke up and I took my son to the shooting range, which is something we like to do. It's quite fun, actually. Just a hobby we have. We are also hunters. And that went very well and should have been an enjoyable day. And yet I was irritated and frustrated. So then you start the process of trying to figure out why you are. And yesterday, when I was by myself in the car, a song had come on in the car. It was called North by Sleeping at Last. And I immediately burst into tears. So this song is talking about having a home and building a home and maintaining a home and putting your roots down, and the years go by, and honestly, this is all I've ever wanted for my life. And as far as I know, what Amanda has wanted as well. And, we've made a lot of sacrifices in our lives and haven't been able to put this together, where we've had this homestead, our permanent place, the final home, etc. And, I'd kind of given up hope that we're ever going to have it until I had my awakening. So we had, like I've said, we made a lot of choices, and all of those choices were based around what was best for the children and the family, and the best environment to raise them. And unfortunately, that meant we moved around a lot, and so we lived in a big city in Western Canada for a while. We could have stayed there. If we had stayed there, we'd be probably financially well off. But we chose to move back to Nova Scotia. And that cost money because the taxes are worse, etc., etc. The employment opportunities aren't as good. But we did it so that we could raise our kids around their family, and we moved to a small town. And as the children got older, we decided that there wasn't enough opportunities in this small town. So then we moved again to give them the opportunities that we wanted them to have in that middle age of that bigger towns could provide for them. So all of these moves, you always lose money, especially in this part of the world, because at the time, it's all part of this game anyway, but this is what happens. You end up losing money. So we ended up in a position where we've had this dream of having a homestead for as long as I can remember. We've been trying to make this happen since we first got married. And frankly, I had given up. I've always been working at learning the skills required to do homesteading. I've done miniature versions of it. We've raised animals. We've done all the gardening. I've learned countless things about homesteading. yet we'd never been able to put it together to get that property for ourselves. So I'd given up on that. And then I had my spiritual awakening, and I saw my future, and I saw my homestead. Not only my homestead, but the most spectacular homestead could ever imagine. And frankly, I got my hopes up again. And the timing based around my clairvoyance as to when this was going to happen, well, it's came and went. And a lot of people that believed me at that time, I don't think they do anymore, because the months that I predicted this was going to happen just didn't come through. And of course, this is all part of the movie. This is part of it. But this is the faith part of it too. So where am I going with this? I had anger issues because it makes you feel like a fool, like you were duped by the universe, And I was frustrated, and that song triggered my frustration and my anger, frankly, my anger. So this is of not having what we should have as a family and all we've ever really wanted. And it's not a crazy dream. It's just some space and some roots that we can plant that are a little more permanent. So that popped up this morning, and this afternoon after we went shooting, and and I let it out, and I recognized why I was feeling upset or angry. Then I played the song for Amanda, and it made me upset again, and I obviously not dealt with this. So I tried to process it. Now I had a video call, a shamanic journey session with Sarah Hall today, a live one, which was amazing. It was fantastic. But my mindset just wasn't there. I wasn't going to go very deep with all of this unprocessed anger just welling up inside of me. So so I went through the shamanic journey session. I did get some conclusions, like as to why I turned into a bat in my shape-shifting experience that I talked about in my last video. And it was for fun, because as a child who grew up in the situation that I grew up in, I had to grow up quickly. I had to adult quickly. And I missed out on a lot of the fun. And as I described in that shape-shifting video, that was some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. Now, life is in quotations here. But it was nevertheless an extremely fun activity. It's like playing air tag, like you're playing tag with other bats, but at a speed and maneuverability that you can only imagine. And it's fun. It is really fun. So this inner child, that I'm supposed to let him have some fun. And it's exceedingly hard to do when you're still holding on to anger about things that you don't have and things that have happened to you in the past. It's hard to let go and just have fun. So I'm still working on that. It'll come. Okay, so the fun thing was cool. Then she tried to initiate us into seeing the elementals, so the fire, wind, water, and earth. And frankly, I just didn't go very deep. I had taken some ceremonial cacao before, which definitely helped me go deeper. But if you're not in a good frame of mind, you're not going to go that deep. Now, I did see, when she was talking about fire, I could see orange, reddish flames in my internal vision. When she was talking about wind, I could see what looked like fog, like a whitish fog. with earth. It was like a darkness, like an inky darkness that I was looking at. So it's not like it wasn't completely effective, but the clarity wasn't there. It was all foggy. It was all because my vibration was still too low, and I couldn't get it higher because I got unprocessed anger that I have to deal with. Which was, it's, at least I recognize this now, and it's not consuming me, though I was still dealing with it. So Amanda, trying to help me. It's funny how the universe works through everyone around you. She came to me and we were discussing going to Halifax. I think it's tomorrow, in 2 days. No, sorry, Monday. And she's like, oh, we should go to one of those rage rooms. Just out of the blue. I was like, why? One of these rooms where you go in and you put on safety gear and you smash old TVs and stuff with sledgehammers. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then she suggested that I go work. My son does Muay Thai, and he has a heavy bag in the back room of the house, but it's not set up. She said, you should set that up and go hit the bag. And I was like, and just out of the random stuff, like it's not like I was actually angry or had concluded that I was angry until this point now. So it just gets better. And then I watched as I was charging the car, I watched a tarot reader, channeler, more accurately described, who suggested that I was having anger issues and that perhaps martial arts or boxing or some sort of constructive way to get this anger out physically would be beneficial for me. And Amanda just suggested all of that to me. So, yeah, I think my son does Muay Thai and they have classes for adults. So I probably just go do that so that I can learn how to punch correctly and I don't end up just breaking my wrist or something. But I need to, this energy is in me and it's there for a reason and I need to get it out. And I think the most constructive way to do this would likely be a martial arts. Now I've done Kung Fu when I was in my 20s for about a year, which I absolutely loved, but I couldn't keep doing it as the universe takes this stuff away from you until you're ready to enjoy that. So I love martial arts and I think I should get into that. That might be a really, really good way to get some of this low vibrational energy out of me. Okay, so we get to that. And then I got the message from my mom. So my mom is deceased and has been for a long time. I'm not even sure, ashamed to say, not even sure how long it's been. But irregardless, she is passed. And when I first had my awakening, the communication between Mom and I, through signs mostly, quite often dragonflies and dimes, and that's pretty much, and the cat, she used the cat as well, but she would use different ways to communicate. And with my wife, who is clairaudient at times, much more direct. So she had a health scare, just this weird health scare that she nearly died. And my deceased mother saved her life. So she came to her while she was sleeping and suggested she go to the hospital immediately. Now, I wasn't convinced because I hadn't awakened and I was not open to any of this stuff. I didn't believe it. And my wife insisted we go to the hospital, and it absolutely saved her life. She was in a medical emergency and would have died if she hadn't gone. So ever since then, I've obviously believed this, and she's been in more communication with me. And over the last month, my wife noticed this as well, that it slowed down, that I didn't feel her presence, and she didn't feel her presence. And the signs weren't coming as often. And this evening, I got more direct communication. So not words yet, although I think that is coming, and it's not far off, because I see it through signs, through divination, through various things. So the first thing that happened was I found a random dime, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw the 3-digit number from my childhood home exchange. So the telephone, the first 3 digits for the area code. And it triggered something in me. And I had been thinking about Mom for various reasons all day. Things had been happening. And I'd be like, oh, that reminded me of Mom. That reminded me of Mom. The ceremonial cacao, because when we were young, we couldn't afford the expensive hot chocolate. She used to make it with cacao, cocoa powder, and on the stove. And I was making it that way when I was preparing it for the thing. And I was like, oh, this reminds me of Mom. And then I saw the exchange, and then a channeler came on that I like to follow and said, your mother is trying to communicate with you, and then this is why she hasn't been able to. Now, the reason that she said that she hasn't been able to is an astrological reason, which, you know, I don't really buy that. I think that's part of this movie. Yes, on the 3D and 5 to 5D viewpoint of how this game works, it's a game. But if you go higher, I believe it's more like a movie where the free choice goes away. So I think this is just part of the movie, which means that, you know, that's just part of the movie. This was written in. She wouldn't be able to communicate because of these various astrological. And then I would learn this lesson, and etc., etc. However, that was pretty neat. And it happened really fast, where I got just a sequence of messages that just made it so apparent that she was trying to communicate with me. So that was amazing. So I've had a communication with my deceased mother this evening. And I suspect, like I said, clairaudience isn't far off, and that I'll be able to actually hear this stuff soon. And I have heard things before, but it's very rare for me, and I usually get messages through, like I said, through signs and synchronicities, things like this. So yeah. Now, this shamanistic journeying adventure has been a lot of fun. Sarah Hall is fantastic. If anyone is looking for someone to guide them through this journey, literal journey, I would highly recommend her. I'm not sure when her next class is, if she has more than one a year, but I did get a message from Isabel Katrina, who's also another YouTube shaman, Nordic medicine woman, I think she refers to herself as. Isabel, if you're watching this, I want to sign up for your shamanic journeying course, but I just can't afford that right at the moment. So unless the universe drops some money in my lap, which would be wonderful, and then I would sign up and do both. But if you're looking for a shamanic journeying a guide, she's starting a session very soon, and you should sign up for it. I suspect it'd be well worth it. So I think that's where we'll leave it. Yeah, this has been an interesting day. Unprocessed anger, messages from my mother, epiphanies through shamanic journeying. It's been really strange, but strange and wonderful. So I think now that I've figured this out, maybe this anger will abate itself for a little while, and then I'll go figure out how to punch my way out of this one in a constructive way. Anyway, as I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.